So, first, friends, first of all, I welcome Dr. Brahmanand ji, Dr. P.S. Brahmanand, who is giving this important lecture for all of us. I welcome you, Dr. Brahmanand ji. And
Thank
I
you,
also welcome the chairperson of today's webinar, Dr. J.S. Mishra Sahab. Dr. Sahab, I welcome you.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
So thank you very much. I welcome all the participants who have joined this webinar. And you all know that this webinar is on a very important topic. And before I would like to introduce Dr. P.S. Brahmanand about this, why we have chosen this topic and why this topic is very relevant for science and society. And in fact, Dr. P.S. Brahmanand is two-time Guinness World Record holder and agriculture scientist. Dr. Brahmanand received 2 international awards. Guinness World Record holder in longest speech marathon in 2012, where when he spoke regularly, continuously about up to 33 hours and 46 minutes, speech on science and technology, society and human development, included topics of agriculture science and drawn the world attention. And he also having the second fastest time record of Guinness Book about the elements of periodic table. This award he received in 2016 and his time was about 3 minutes and 54 seconds. And Dr. Brahmanand also delivered longest extempore speech of 38 hours and 21 minutes on ideology and spiritual concept of Swami Vivekananda and its relevance to the present day society. So this was the reason that we thought that it is a really very important topic. All we are acquainted about the science. We always talk about the science, about the weed science, about other science, but seldomly we know that how much a spiritual leader can speak about the society and the science. And to the lure of Dr. Brahmanand, I would tell you that he is having a lot of awards. So he was bestowed with 5 national awards. Indira Gandhi Rajbhasha Puruskar of Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India, twice for original book writing by an Indian author in Hindi language for the year 2005 and 2006. And he also received one award, ICAR award for outstanding interdisciplinary team research in agriculture and allied science for the biennium 2013-14 and 2001 and 2, and Vasant Roy Naik award for ICAR 2007. So friends, before us, Dr. Brahmanand, the caliber of Dr. Brahmanand, we can understand that not only he is a very outstanding scientist, but along with that also he has very extra outstanding capacity and capability to speak on the spiritual leader like Dr. Swami Vivekananda. We all know about the Dr. Swami Vivekananda ji, but seldomly we know about his ideology. So with this remark about Dr. Brahmanand, I invite the chairman of today's webinar, Dr. J.S. Mishra Sahab, for his comment. Dr. Mishra ji.
Thank you, Dr. Sushil Kumar ji, and the today's speaker, my own friend, Dr. Brahmanand ji, and the participants, especially I could see Dr. T.K. Das and so many other senior persons in this webinar. So I once again welcome you all. And as we all know that almost since last 1 year, we have initiated the webinar and through our directorate as well as through the different equip centers on different aspects of the bead management, inviting the speakers from learned speakers from the country as well as from the abroad on the various aspects of bead management. So since last 1 year, we are listening on the weed science. So it was thought that let us have some spiritual and some personalities like Swami Vivekananda, who in fact even a very short span of life, around 39 years or so, he give a message to the people of this earth, not only in India, but abroad also, that how within a short span of life, we can achieve much more for ourselves, for the society, for the science, and things like that. So I think the ideologies of the Swami Vivekananda, just today's speaker, Dr. Brahmanand, will tell in detail because he is the master of the ideology of Swami Vivekananda. Dr. Sushil Kumar already told with the longest speech with the Guinness World Record. So I think our day-to-day science, day-to-day working in office or at home perspective, our life, family life. So somehow, sometimes by doing the routine things, we get frustrated also many a times. So such speeches and such talk and such deliberations are also very much required at alternate intervals so that we can replace with a different type of setup of mind. And I think in that context, we are organizing this webinar today. So without taking much time, I once again welcome Dr. Brahmanand and other participants and invite Dr. Brahmanand to deliver the talk. Dr. Brahmanand, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Sir, kindly allow me to share the screen. It is showing disabled.
Gyanendra?
Yeah, now it is. Sabko namaskar. Most respected Director of ICAR-DWR Jabalpur, Dr. Mishra ji, respected Sushil Kumar ji, respected and esteemed delegates, senior colleagues of ICR and state agriculture universities, manage and several other organizations, and all my beloved friends. It's my privilege to share my thoughts on one of the most ideal personality the world has produced, that is Swami Vivekananda. Friends, it's my privilege to share my thoughts here, and let me first express my deep sense of gratitude to ICR Directorate of Wheat Research Jabalpur, his director and the staff for providing me this opportunity to share my thoughts with all my beloved friends. Because this topic is very relevant in the present day society, especially when the value system, majority of us feel that it is on the declining trend. Even though we are technologically advancing, but we have a problem with the ideals to be maintaining at a desirable form. It's not happening. So out of that, it is not the persons, it is the actually principles, it is the attitude which makes a man perfect and which contributes to the society. And out of such examples, we find great people like Father of the Nation, Mahatma Gandhi. Even at international level, you can find Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa, several other great people like Dr. Abdul Kalam, who have shown us that in their life, majority things could be done by serving the poor people and by showing the best form of the humanity. And that's why even if they are not present physically, but we remember them, we cherish whatever the memories they left on us. So there comes the question of credibility. What is credibility? Credibility means if a person says something and if it does something, if the difference between them is almost negligible, then we can say it's a highly credible person. He is a credible person. So whoever the great people like Abdul Kalam, Mahatma Gandhi, Swami Vivekananda, they come under those ideal personalities. So out of that, Swami Vivekananda is unique because of some of the things which he has achieved. I will be sharing with you, and in that process, I allow myself to get purified, and I express my sincere thanks to DWR Jabalpur for that. Friends, the topic chosen for today's lecture under the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, it is the philosophy and spiritual concept of Swami Vivekananda and its relevance to the present day society and science. So when we talk about this, I have tried to put the lecture in this form. So let us first see the life history of Swami Vivekananda in brief and understanding the main essence of human life. Basically, by understanding and interpreting the different life incidents itself, it gives us a clear idea that how a best person, an ideal person should be in a society. Then Swamiji's philosophy on different attributes like on faith, on optimism, on education, science, everything will be discussed. Then Swamiji's spiritual concept that Advaita Vedanta and human service, and then some of the inspirational stories by Swamiji and parables of Sri Ramakrishna, basically, that give us an idea, a clue that how the present society and how the present state of science should move in what direction. So friends, when we talk about this, the initial portion is basically like different life events. If you see the birth of Swamiji, which we are celebrating as National Youth Day in India, that is 12th January. In the year 1863, the Swamiji born as Narendranath Datta to Vishwanath Datta and Bhubaneswari as parents. So the young Narendra used to be very active in both sports and also in arts and several other activities along with the studies. But during that time, the Swamiji was having a lot of energy, but at the same time, he was having a relentless quest that, whether the God is there or not. So he was getting attracted towards different spiritual discourses, but wherever the opportunity he got, he tried to get the query, get his clarification on that, whether the existence of God is there or not. And during that particular course of time, there was an occasion when he was having his formal education in Kolkata. Then there was an occasion where the Professor William Hastie, when he was explaining about one particular term, it's called ecstasy. Ecstasy, from a particular poem of Wordsworth, that is The Excursion is the poem. And in that, the ecstasy word, when the professor has explained, the students, including Narendranath, they could not get the exact meaning of it. So to give them a pure meaning of it, a best meaning of it, the professor said, when Narendra was asking him, that you go and watch one person, you interact with a person who is there in Dakshineshwar. His name is Sri Ramakrishna. If you can identify his state of mind, that is nothing but ecstasy, you will understand. So that is the starting point of how the journey has happened and how the meeting point has happened between the master and the student. The great master Sri Ramakrishna was approached by Narendranath, and during that interaction, the Narendranath was very much, Vivekananda asked him that, have you seen God? The Ramakrishna very affirmatively told him, yes, I have seen him, rather more intensely than what I see you. So that has given him, uniqueness of a response, which Narendra has never got this response earlier. So then slowly, he interacted with Swami Ramakrishna and tried to get his answers. And when we talk about science, because along with the life itself, we have to interpret, science is basically, the foundation is on the, scientific inquiry of mind, and then searching for the truth. If that is the case, the Swami Vivekananda was having that relentless quest for truth, for the existence of God, and Ramakrishna could answer him properly, and slowly, the association, it got intensified. And when an unfortunate incident happened, that Swamiji's father expired, then Ramakrishna told that, you pray for Ma Kali for wealth, for removal of your obstacles. But when Swami Vivekananda prayed for Ma Kali, instead of wealth, he has prayed for wisdom. And that is the turning point. And from there onwards, the intensity has increased. Slowly, Ramakrishna tried to keep the other disciples also to be in close association with Vivekananda, get the guidance of Swami Vivekananda. And in that process, it further moved. And in 1886, when the master, he left his physical body, then slowly, all the disciples, including Narendranath, they took sannyasa and they have meditated. And slowly, the Swamiji started going for temporary excursions to outside to know about, the outside condition of the society under the British rule. And slowly, he had the temporary excursions. But in 1890, finally, after taking the blessings from Ma Sharada, he left for a long excursion. Means he started moving to the different corners of the country. Initially, he went to Varanasi, then he went to Lucknow, Agra, then Hathras. He has gone to different places of including Rajasthan. Even he has gone to Gujarat, Maharashtra. Then finally, he has gone towards the south. Then initially has gone to Mysore. And from there, he has moved to Kanyakumari. And every one of us know, at the end of 1892, he had meditated at Kanyakumari. In front of Ma Kumari, Mother Kumari, he had actually made a swimming for a short distance to that rock, and which is presently Vivekananda Rock Memorial at Kanyakumari. And there he meditated. The very objective of meditation was to fulfill the wish of his master, that is Sri Ramakrishna, who wanted that the spiritual regeneration of India at that time through Vivekananda. That spiritual regeneration, how it happens. At the same time, he had also tried to analyze what was the past, what is the present condition of the country, and what should be the future of this country. So keeping those three things in mind, and also the wish of the Sri Ramakrishna, he meditated for 3 days, and then finally he came to a conclusion that he should go to West and he should make them understand that there is a impoverishment of the masses, especially the poor people of India. Actually, it is the India which is the spiritual leader of the whole world. The total world should take guidance from India in spiritual world. But on economic side, the people are not in good condition. So it is the necessity of the West to help the country like India. And at the same time, they should also get the guidance from the India. That means the search for the inner truth. Swamiji said India is master, India is number one. Maybe in external facilities and all, the West has developed. So he wanted the unification of West and East. And finally, he expressed this desire when he has gone to Madras. Then some of the disciples, even they collected the donations for sending him to the World Parliament of Religions. But he wanted to seek the blessings of Ma Sharada, getting the permission from her. And after getting the permission and after seeing Sri Ramakrishna in the dream, that you should move forward, then he finally moved to Hyderabad. Then he got the message from Maharaja of Khetri that his son birth function was there, and he invited him. Since Swamiji went there. And friends, in that occasion, in 1893, the Swami Vivekananda, actually he was Narendranath Datta at that time, he was given a title of Vivekananda by the Maharaja. So that was the turning point where he attained that. And after that, Maharaja has given his assistant to send him to Mumbai, from where on 31st May 1893, Swamiji left for USA to participate in the most famous Chicago speech every one of us know. So this is the journey which he has made. The point of telling is during this excursion, the Swamiji has come in contact with different masses. He could see starting from Mysore and Kanyakumari to Kashmir, he has visited, and he has seen how the condition of the masses was there. And he has also understood that as a duty of a citizen of this country and as a disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, he tried to make a balance, strike a balance between the two, and he meditated that. And that type of concentration is required for the scientists to make science excel. Nowadays, a lot of instrumentation has happened, but it is the human mind, inquiring mind, which has led to all great discoveries. If you see the earlier discoveries, all are through the scientific inquiry of mind, the concentration of mind, the power of mind. How can we manifest it has been well explained by Swami Vivekananda better than anybody else. That's why even the Western world, they could accept the philosophy of Swamiji, hallowed the establishment of Vedanta ashramas, societies, Vedanta societies, starting from San Francisco to New York, everywhere, the people got attracted. Now, when he has reached, Chicago, before that, in between, during the journey, he interacted with the different people, great people like J.R.D. Tata also. And when he has reached the Chicago, to his utter surprise and dismay, he could understand that the original schedule of the World Parliament of Religion got deferred, got postponed to September. So initially the Swamiji came with a mental setup and also the physical resources, the financial resources which has brought. He could understand that Chicago was a costly city. So he moved to Boston, which is relatively economically cheaper. So when he made his travel from Chicago to Boston for a temporary stay, he came in contact with one citizen there, and Catherine, she has actually helped him to come in association with the Harvard professor, John Henry Wright. So when John Henry Wright could interact with Swamiji, he could sense that here is a person who is having a treasure of knowledge. So then during the interaction, he told Swamiji that in inquiry, he asked him that when are you participating in the World Parliament of Religions? Then Swamiji said him that actually they are requiring the credentials, which I am not having. They were telling that for allowing me, they want credentials, means all the participants were asked to submit the credentials, which I am not having. Then the professor has written one letter to the chairman of that World Parliament of Religion, who is taking the selection of the candidates. He has written like this. He has written, here is a man who is more learned than all our learned professors together. This is the respect commanded by Swamiji purely because of his devotion and purely because of his pureness in thought. And that is the one where we as a scientist should learn from it. These attributes, if we learn, then this machinery and this combination of attributes can take the scientific achievements far away. And during the interaction, when he also told Swamiji, the professor has told Swamiji, asking you the right, asking you the credentials is almost like asking the sun to state its right to shine, which is completely unnatural. So this is the expression which the people have shown to the different attributes of Swami Vivekananda. And then, of course, he has moved to Chicago on 11th September, just before he went, and there was some difficulty. And then finally, in the Arts Museum in Chicago, where 7,000 audience were there, then when Swamiji started the speech with the dear sisters and brothers of America, it fills my heart with joy unspeakable to raise in response to the warm response you have given us. And during that particular speech, he has given such a message mentioning that it is the oneness of God, it is the universality of all religions, which is more important. We should rely on peace, we should rely on tolerance. And our country, the Mother India, has provided enough platform for tolerance, and universal acceptance. And because of that, he could convey the message in such a manner. He has also quoted one important saying from Sloka from Gita also, and he could convince the people. And immediately on the next day, the New York Times has mentioned that a cyclonic monk from India, means Swamiji, who was almost unknown just one day before, has become so popular, but it is all because of his devotion, his dedication, and his association, pure association with Guruji, Sri Ramakrishna and Ma Sharada. You see the dedication. If you can have such type of dedication now among the professor and student, and also among the professors together or among the students together, that can create miracles in science. So this type of pureness, which is more important for us. And then after that, he started moving different corners of USA. He has given discourses on Vedantic society, especially Advaita Vedanta. He has explained the people, and slowly he went to UK and other European countries, and almost this stay at West continued for a longer period. And Swamiji interacted with different great personalities there. And then in 1896, at the end of 1896, he left West and he came back to the country. When he came back, immediately in 1897, he established Ramakrishna Mission. This is a very important landmark in the life history of Swami Vivekananda and also for our country, because Ramakrishna wanted to achieve two things for the welfare of the society through his beloved disciple Swami Vivekananda. That is, first one is Advaita Vedanta, means propagation of the message of Advaita Vedanta. That is nothing but the universality, the wholeness, means it is a oneness of all religions. Then the second one is human service. By serving human beings, you want to display that it is the best way of worshipping the God. Manava Seva, Madhava Seva. That's nothing but through human service only you can get purified at an individual level. This is the message given by Swamiji, and these twin objectives are the main background for the establishment of Ramakrishna Mission in 1897. In 1898, when plague has come in, outbreak was there in Kolkata, in West Bengal, tremendous help has been done by the Ramakrishna Mission. That is the starting point. And from then onwards, friends, you will admit, even today, in the natural calamities, the services provided by some great organizations, Ramakrishna Mission also has its share in pureness of and dedication with which the volunteers does the service to the human beings. So this is the one which he has done in 1897. And after that, he has also moved to different parts, and he has tried to convey the message of spirituality. He has come in interaction with some of the great people like Balagangadhar Tilak and other freedom fighters. He has provided the direction for Mother India. And then the unification of East and West. This is the ideology with which he again made around one and a half year trip from 1899 June to 1900 December. Swamiji again went to West, and then he has tried to make, convince there that you have to provide the financial resources for the country like India, and whereas you have to get a lot of guidance for the search of inner truth in the form of Advaita Vedanta and in the form of human service from India. And this is the exercise which he has made. And finally, in 1902, on 4th July, the Swamiji, he left his physical body. On that particular day also, if you see the life of Swami Vivekananda, in the morning, he had gone for 3-hour meditation, which was unusual as per his schedule that time. And after that, he had gone for a walk with Swami Brahmanand, and he discussed about his desire, his vision to start Vedic school. And after that, he has gone back and he took rest for some time, and then In the evening, he had a meditation for 1 hour, and after that, he left his physical body. The point of submission here is, even on the last day, he tried to contribute towards the country in the form of spreading of the knowledge, which no other great people could do much. Only Adi Shankaracharya, who is well known for spreading the message of Advaita Vedanta, who also lived for a short period. Swami Vivekananda also followed the similar path. The only difference is even Adi Shankaracharya also visited up to Srinagar, means he has gone there and established mud there. He had really come up with a great discourses on Advaita Vedanta, convinced different sections of the people. Similarly, Swami Vivekananda not only confined himself to the country, but at international level, he could spread the message of Advaita Vedanta, and he could infuse, inspiration among the minds of Western people to do the human service at the best level. And at 1902, finally, his journey of that physical journey ended. But friends, we know, as I mentioned, the National Youth Day, we memorize him on the occasion of National Youth Day. But if we can take the inspiration from him, it will help us enormously. Because if you see his lifestyle, he was having a rebellious, a relentless quest, and also he was having anger during his childhood. But Ramakrishna converted that anguish towards the spiritual bliss. So how he has converted from anguish to spiritual bliss is only because of infinite patience, which Ramakrishna has shown on him, and enormous love and affection, which Ramakrishna displayed, has changed, has transformed the life of Swami Vivekananda. So if you talk in terms of science, like in photosynthesis, which is nothing but the providing the equation for providing the source of food for all of us, like carbon dioxide and water, when they mix with, in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, it provides a glucose molecule, or you can say like carbohydrate is coming. So in this, unless the chlorophyll and sunlight, if they are not there, it would not have happened. That equation is not possible. Similarly, from the anguish towards the spiritual bliss, the anguish is the reactant, spiritual bliss is the product. The in between, the catalyst, that is the love and affection, and that is the enormous patience displayed by Sri Ramakrishna. And this is very important, friends. Without enzyme, we all know that is a biological catalyst. It is not possible to see any chemical equation to get proceeded forward. And if you see an enzyme called carbonic anhydrase, the role which it plays, almost 10 to the power of 7 times the equation rate will be multiplied because of carbonic anhydrase. And without that, it will be lesser than that. So sometimes people ask whether only by having a good thought sharing can we prosper. Yes, we can prosper, friends, because good thought sharing, we call it sadvichar. It is a process. It is a step. It alone cannot give the result, but it is must. So under that, if you see some people like Swami Vivekananda, we understand their life, then automatically we get motivated. We get confidence that we can also move in a proper direction. So this is the one which I would like to say. And then if you see the dedication with which Swami Vivekananda admits about Ramakrishna, you can find the example here. If there has been anything achieved by me, by thoughts or words or deeds, if from my lips has ever fallen one word that helped anyone in the world, I lay no claim to it. It was his. If his nation wants to raise, if this nation wants to raise, take my word for it, it will have to rally around his name. The meaning of this one is, if you are having a trust with your guru and completely, having faith on him, it can lead to enormous success, but that attitude is very important. After attaining the success, if the attitude is there, which in Gita also it was very clearly mentioned, like detachment. So without expecting any result, you do the activity without expecting the result, get detached to it, and then do it, then only, it is the best way of doing karma. So spreading the message of Advaita Vedanta and serving the God through the service to human beings, because of Ramakrishna and Ma Sharada, the Swamiji has if you see some of his philosophy on attributes like faith, optimism, it's very important because several times we have low in our life. Every one of us will go through some tough phase. During that phase, if you can memorize some of the quotes of Swami Vivekananda, it gives a lot of strength. The best example is even Anna Hazare. He openly admitted that in one of his low patch of his life, he had gone through the book of Vivekananda and he mustered the courage. And again, everyone knows how he has contributed enormously for the society and for the nation. And similarly, truly interpret the meaning of religion and ethics, inculcate the philosophy of Advaita Vedanta. As I mentioned, everything is in mind. So believe in the power of mind. It is our own thoughts make what we are. So we are the makers of our own destiny, and interpreting the meaning of education, science, and best serve the society. And finally, serving the man as nothing but the worshipping the God. So if you see in terms of faith, what Swamiji mentioned, the history of the world is the history of the few men who had faith in themselves. That faith calls out the divinity from within, and we can do anything. We fail only when you do not strive sufficiently to manifest the infinite power. As soon as a man or a nation loses faith, death comes. The meaning of this one is Swamiji mainly concentrated on activity, confidence, faith, optimism. If those things are there, he related that one to the life. And if they are not there, it's almost equal to the inactivity is nothing but death. Similarly, he also mentioned that remedy for weakness is not just brooding over weakness. It's nothing but let us think about strength and teach men of strength which is already within them. Means what he wants to say that everyone is having the capability, but only thing is how to manifest is the most important one. And to get the manifestation, you should have some of your thought process to get motivated. And similarly, to succeed, one must have tremendous perseverance, tremendous will. Even I will drink the ocean, says the persevering soul. At my will, mountains will crumble up. Have that sort of energy, that sort of will. Work hard and you'll reach the goal. And similarly, he says that, can anything be done unless everybody exerts himself to his utmost? Actually, unless you do the action, unless you have that, intensity of action and look forward, what we require is infinite energy, infinite zeal, infinite courage, infinite patience, which we have talked between the Ramakrishna and Vivekananda. Then only the great things can be achieved. And this is important for science. Actually, the power of mind, the education and science, whatever Swamiji's thoughts are there, they are highly applicable, highly relevant to the present day society. See, when we want to achieve something, first of all, you make that good idea, you take that idea, identify that idea, take up one idea, make that one idea your life, think of it, dream of it, live on that idea. Let the brain, muscles, nerves, every part of your body be full of that idea, and just leave every other idea alone. This is the way to success. If you really want to be blessed and make others blessed, you must go deeper. You see, you can understand the psychology of the scientists like Newton, how much thought process they might have done. If you see whatever he said, the concentration of mind, that only has finally led to some great scientific achievements. Similarly, if you see, it is our mental attitude which makes the world what it is for us. Our thoughts make things beautiful. If you think correctly, then everything will be proper. Otherwise, it is reverse also. The whole world is in our minds. Learn to see things in the proper light. And he also said that it is the conscious effort, training is very important. For that, he mentioned that 90% of the thought process is wasted by the ordinary human being. And therefore, he is constantly committing blunders or errors. The trained man or mind never makes a mistake. Friends, you can see one example he has put in front of us, that is Ramakrishna Mission. As I mentioned, those twin objectives are being fulfilled wonderfully because the training is so proper, the dedication, the purity. So that is the one which even at organizational level, even in scientific organizations, if you have that type of tendency, then automatically the results will be, sweeter. And similarly, we are the, makers of our own destiny. We are responsible for what we are. Whatever we wish ourselves to be, we have the power to make ourselves. If we are now has been the result of our own past actions, it certainly follows that whatever we wish to be in future can be produced by the present actions. So then only the future product will come. So we have to know how to act. So that is most important. And every thought we think, every deed we do, after a certain time becomes fine and goes into seed form. And so to speak, and lies in the fine body in a potential form, and after a time, it merges again and bears the results. And these results condition the life of man. And thus he molds his own life. Actually, the character which we say is nothing but through a continuous habits. Then we get the propensities and they form the character. And man is not by any other laws accepting those which he makes for himself. Means how you have started your journey, how much you have accumulated in that particular journey, all good actions combinedly, they finally lead to it. And every good thought we send to the world without thinking of any return will be stored up there and break one link in the chain. And this is nothing but the essence of Gita. And this type of action without expecting any return, it makes us purer and purer until we become the purest of the mortals. So this will, remove one chain of impure chain will be broken. Rather, reverse to it is, if you proceed the hatred and jealousy, they will rebound on you with the compound interest. So here it is reverse. So the road to the God is the roughest and steepest in the universe. So it is very common that few people succeed in it because it requires a lot of dedication, a lot of pureness. And that's why no wonder that so many fall. And character has to be established through 1,000 stumbles. Similarly, if you see the scientific inquiring mind of Swamiji and how well he explained about God and man. See, he explained man as an infinite circle whose circumference is nowhere, but the center is located in only one spot. In case of God, he again mentioned that it is an infinite circle whose circumference is nowhere, but whose center is everywhere. You see the interpretation. The difference between the God and the devil is nothing but except in either unselfishness or selfishness. If God means it is nothing but a complete representation of unselfishness. The devil knows as much as God. It may be as efficient as God. It is as powerful as God. Only he has no holiness that makes him a devil. Apply the same idea to the modern world. Excess of knowledge and power without holiness makes human beings devils. Friends, I think this particular statement, it explains about the relevance to the present day society and science. See, nobody, Swamiji has a full clarity that our achievements like nanotechnology or anything, whatever we achieve today in terms of science and technology, it has benefited society in different ways, no doubt about it. But if the proper direction to this science and technology is not there, if it is not regulated properly, then it will do more harm than what it can do in the form of goodness. The best example is nowadays when people talk about biowars, people talk about even, different theories about corona because of, something somewhere in the minds of somebody has led to some accident or whatever it may be. Finally, it has resulted in such a devastating, epidemic, such a high mortality rate. Now, the point is, if you can regulate a human mindset by attitude, if the holiness would have been there, such type of things would never happen. So similarly, our duty to others means helping others, but doing good to the world. But friends, it is not that we are helping others, basically. why should we do good to the world? Apparently to help the world, but really, genuinely, it is to help ourselves. It is not the receiver that is blessed, but it is the giver. Be thankful that you are allowed to exercise your power of benevolence and mercy in the world and thus become pure and perfect. And same example, we also see when State Bank of India used to quote that earlier. It is the customer who was providing, benefit to the bank. It is not the bank which is benefiting the customer. So similar thing in Gita also, it is very clearly there. You cannot help anyone. You can only serve. Serve the children of the Lord, serve the Lord himself if you have the privilege. If Lord grants that you can help any one of his children, blessed you are. Do not think too much of yourselves. Blessed you are that the privilege was given to you when others had it not. Do it only as a worship. Means you do your thing, don't think that I have done something great. No. You rather in that process, you are getting purified. So for getting that opportunity, be thankful to the God. And similarly, if you see the other way of how he has explained about the history of the world is nothing but the history of 6 men of faith and 6 men of deep, pure character. He wants to emphasize on quality than quantity here in this statement. We need to have 3 things: the heart to fill, the brain to conceive, and hand to work. Make yourself a dynamo. Feel first for the world. Ask yourself, does your mind react in hatred or jealousy? Good works are continuously being undone by the tons of hatred and anger which are being poured out in the world. If you are pure, if you are strong, one man is equal to the whole world. Will such a day come when this life will go for the sake of others' good? He says that the world is not a child's play, and great men are those who build highways for others with their heart's blood. This has been taking place through eternity, that one builds a bridge by laying down his own body and thousands of others cross the river through its help. Be it so, be it so. So this is nothing but actually he wanted to convey that this is a common process. This is a natural process. Don't think that you have done this one. The people who are destined to do that, they will do. But in that process, you also tend to try to be in the process of transformation towards the good things. Similarly, because as I mentioned, when he made excursion throughout the corners of the country, he tried to understand the plight of the masses. And then he has talked about, some of the people who are talking that India will become like this, the future will not be good. But Swamiji never agreed for that. Even he shared that one with the different freedom fighters. And he mentioned that, shall India die? Then from the world, all spirituality will be extinct. All moral perfection will be extinct. All sweet soul sympathy for religion will be extinct. All ideality will be extinct. And in its place will reign the duality of lust and luxury as the male and female deities, with money as its priest, fraud, force, and competition its ceremonies, and the human soul its sacrifice. Such a thing can never be. Will she die? Means he wanted to say that, no, it can never happen. This whole mother of all that is noble or moral or spiritual, the land which the sages trod, the land in which the godlike men still live and breathe. I will borrow the lantern of the Athenian sage and follow you, my brother, through the cities and villages, plains and forests of this broad world. Show me such men in other lands if you can. Means you see that how well he explained about the uniqueness and greatness of this Mother India. Wanted to infuse faith among the masses that our country has such a rich heritage. So be proud of it. He has very in a nutshell, he has mentioned that it is the power of spirit which is important. India will be raised not with the power of flesh, but with the power of spirit. Not with the flag of destruction, but with the flag of peace and love. One vision I see clear as life before me, that the ancient mother has awakened once more, sitting on her throne rejuvenated, more glorious than ever. Proclaim her to the world with the voice of peace and benediction. And this is the one which has made attention, drawn the attention of Mahatma Gandhi towards the ideology of Swami Vivekananda, which I will be sharing at the end, but how he has mentioned about Vivekananda. The more we study the past, the more glorious will be our future. And whoever tries to bring the past to the door of everyone is a great benefactor to this nation. if you can remember the contributions of Dayananda Saraswati, who mentioned that let us go back to Vedas. It's under similar line. The degeneration of India, this is a very important statement Swami has given. The degeneration of India came not because the laws and customs of ancients were bad, but because they were not allowed to be carried to their legitimate conclusions. If you see the whole life of Swami Vivekananda, it is the interpretation which is more important about different aspects of life. If you interpret positively, then everything will be, this whatever the problem apparently for others has been converted by Swamiji as an opportunity to make himself further perfect. The similar thing we can also try to attain. Similarly, in terms of science, even though I tried to give some of the interpretations from his life history and also some of the earlier thoughts, but if you see some of the specific points for science, what he mentioned, important thing is the science and religion or spirituality, they're inseparable because they both search for truth. They both search for truth. The only thing is, in case of science, it searches truth in the external world, in the material, whatever we are able to find in that material objects. By making experimentations, the science will try to find that, some of the truth, which is otherwise already there, but it comes with a hypothesis and it finally comes up with, some of the valid points. The basic for science is to have the, reason is to be proved. So empirical evidence is required, but everything is based on search of the truth in the external world. So here, in case of spirituality or religion, any religion for that matter, it is nothing but a quest for truth, the way in which Swamiji also had a quest for truth when he interacted with Sri Ramakrishna and found the answer. Similarly, in all other religions, the quest for truth in the internal world, means in the inner nature of human being, how to search the truth, how to understand what you are, how best you can understand about yourself. And that is, in that way, he says, in case of religion also, you may be knowing that Swamiji got attracted towards the Brahma Samaj in the beginning, before his meeting happened with Sri Ramakrishna, because the Brahma Samaj was, aiming at removal of some of the blind faiths, some superstitions and all. So Swamiji had the reasoning in his mind. The reasoning was always a part, even when he had attained that interaction and pureness with the Ramakrishna's sayings and all, but he always had that inquiring mind. So what he says in religion or spirituality also, the inquiry of mind is must, both in science and also in terms of religion. Now the point is, he mentioned during his excursions what he learned. He learned that it is the sensitivity towards the poor, it is the sensitivity towards the sufferings of your fellow being, which is more important. You should respond to it. For which Mahatma Gandhi also come up with a concept of trusteeship. The trusteeship mentions that the people who are relatively better in the financial resources, they can donate some of their resources to the other sections of the society voluntarily. And in that process, the society will get a benefit. The similar thing, the science without humanity, because in the earlier one of the quote, we have mentioned that if the holiness is lacking, the efficiency in terms of scientific achievement may be very high, but the results of the science and technology, to make them spread across the world, across the different corners of the world, the sensitivity towards the society is very important. And that type of sensitivity towards the others will come from the ethics, will come from the spirituality, and that direction is required. If the direction is supporting the science and technology, then the human development will happen at the best level. So the main thing is the science and technology with the support of spirituality, with the support of ethics, with support of moral standards, ethics, then it can provide the best solution to the society. And that's the one which we are talking, like holiness to the science will be provided by the spirituality. Here, I would like to give the example of two physiological systems in our body. every one of us understands that we have a circulatory system where arteries and veins are there to take the blood from the heart to the other organs and other organs to the heart. Heart is basically the central pumping system, machine, the biological machine. So the heart will pump the blood. All the cells will get the oxygen and nutrients because the blood is a carrier of those oxygen and nutrients. So everybody understands that if heart fails, a person will die. But at the same time, it is getting the impure blood, but that impure blood is getting purified by another organ called lungs. And they form this central part of respiratory system. Unless the blood is purified by the respiratory system, the impure blood will never be converted to the pure blood. It is in the respiratory, whatever we are getting the energy means from the oxygen, the cells will get, the blood will be pumped from the circulatory system. But instead of oxygen, if it pumps the carbon dioxide, then also we'll die. Rather, we'll die faster than the control in terms of scientific language. So that means if science and technology, if they are more progressing, but without holiness, here the circulatory system can be compared to the science and technology. Respiratory system can be compared to the spirituality of all religions. And this respiratory system is must, then only the efficiency of the circulatory system is good. And that teamwork will only make us to, survive in a better manner. And that oxygen is provided by the spirituality. So this is what we can conclude from Swamiji's life and how it has been taken, how it has been interpreted. Similarly, I would like to talk on the brain versus mind. See, Swamiji mentioned in one of the contexts, it is the brain which is, having different activities, especially the neurons, they will move from one part to another. The central nervous system is there. Now, the point is, if you are thinking in a different intensities, it can be measured. The brain activity can be measured with instruments. MRI scan and all, whatever we find when some of our family members or friends, when they're admitted in a hospital for diagnosis, the MRI will be done. We know that doctors can measure the brain. That means science and technology can catch the activities in the brain. But friends, it is mind which cannot be read by the science and technology. It is the mind which is having some, a series of functions. A series of functions which is handled by mind. A different thought process is going on. And during that thought process, slowly, if you are catching good actions, good thoughts, then slowly, that may become a habit. If it is a good action, then it will become a good habit. If it is a bad action, then it will become a bad habit. And which we are calling as propensities. Slowly, it will get established as propensities. And finally, the character will be built. So that initial action is very important. So the mind does all these things and which cannot be measured. Swamiji mentions that if mind thinks in a different intensity, your brain will show some different activity and the doctors can measure only the brain activity, but it's not the mind. So it is the mind, everything, in the universal library is completely in the mind, means it's in the brain region. Scientifically, we explain about brain, but we don't know about mind because the mind provides you a different series of functions, which may be a bad action, which may be a good action, which may be a combination of good and bad actions. In the same life history of a single person, in different time periods, it may be different also. So the point is how you can regulate. For that, he has thought about, explaining about Raja Yoga, basically how to regulate your mind through yoga. That is also, he has written a book also, Swamiji has written a book on Raja Yoga. And in this context, I would like to say, he says either through Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, even Raja Yoga, you can attain the final objective. Anything is okay. Means somebody, suppose who doesn't have any knowledge about these things, but he does his work perfectly. As Gita said, Swamiji says that he is perfect at Karma Yoga. And that is enough to get the final objective. And Swamiji also mentions that Gautama Buddha, he considers himself as the best karma yoga produced by the world. No dogmas, no theories, but be good and do good. These are the only two things, be good and do good, that explains the total essence of all spirituality, that explains the oneness of all religions. That's why during his inaugural speech in the Chicago speech, Swamiji delivered 6 speeches in Chicago. We know only that 11 September, which we celebrate as universal, basically it is a fraternity day, the brotherhood day, that we know. But Swamiji also delivered on 15th September, on 19th, on 20th, even 26th, he delivered 6 speeches. And in one of the speeches, he mentioned that, especially the concluding speech, Swamiji mentioned that when the seed is put in the soil, it will be covered with soil. It is also getting integrated with air. It is also provided with water, but seed is not going to become neither soil, nor water, nor air. Rather, seed is going to become a plant because it follows the laws of its own nature. But at the same time, it assimilates good things from the air, required things from the water, and also takes the soil as a medium. And finally, it has become a plant. Similarly, he gives this example because he says that all religions, they can take the spirit, they can accept the spirit of others. And every religion can grow on its own. It is not going to become another. It has to evolve on its own. And this is the one which he has mentioned. And that's why he is also mentioned in the first speech that under the banner of religion, in spite of resistance, soon it will be declared it is the assimilation, not destruction. It is the help, not fight. It is the assimilation, means which is a construction. He talked about construction. He talked about peace. That is more important for the accepting the universality concept of all the religions. And that's why he could convince the different people. So this is in a nutshell about his idea. But here, before concluding, I would like to focus on this education, because this is the concentration of mind which he has stressed more than the collecting of facts. Here he says that education is the manifestation of perfection already in man. To me, the very essence of education is concentration of mind, not the collecting facts. If I had to do my education over again and had any voice in the matter, I would not study facts at all. I would develop the power of concentration and detachment, and then with a perfect instrument, I could collect facts at will. In science, this is very important because it's not just, making a list of the points and memorizing. It is rather understanding the concept. And once you can understand that, then that will make the whole purpose of that particular exercise. The education, similarly, he talked about education for the welfare of the society. The education which does not help the common mass of people to equip themselves for struggle for life, which does not bring the strength of the character, spirit of philanthropy, and courage of a lion, is it worth the name? The real education is that which enables one to stand on his own legs. Similarly, here he talked about life building, man making, character making, assimilation of ideas. Even if you have 5 ideas, the person who assimilates the 5 ideas, he will be having a better education than anyone who has got by heart a whole library. The meaning of this one is the final crux you have to, with concentration, you have to grasp it. So this is the one. Similarly, knowledge is inherent in man. Everything, will be inside the mind, and all the external world only provides us, some clue only. So these are some of the pictures during the Guinness World Record, which I have created in 2012. This was on Science and Technology, Society and Human Development in 2012 at KIT University, Bhubaneswar. Started on 8th September 2012 on occasion of International Literacy Day. And then it got concluded on 9th September night at 8:30. And the concluding speech was on contributions of ICR. contributions of ICR to the society was a part of this particular speech, especially at the conclusion. And these are some of the glimpses during my speech. This is almost at the end, after we achieved on 9th September. This is the one I would like to share with you. And this is the one on 2014, because the earlier one was 33 hours and 46 minutes. I tried to improve that to further. So I have attempted this time on the topic ideology and spiritual concept of Swami Vivekananda and its relevance to the present day society. And this was delivered for 38 hours and 21 minutes, again in KIT University, Kalinga University in Bhubaneswar. This speech, this second speech was delivered completely by standing position, even though Guinness rule was not requiring it, but because of dedication to Ramakrishna and Vivekananda, I tried, and with their blessings, I could do that. And this is in 2016, where again I applied the principle of concentration, which I have shown in the slides of some of my presentation, that take up one idea and that concentration, power of mind. I applied that one and created a new Guinness World Record in the category of fastest time to identify all 118 elements of periodic table, from hydrogen to unonoctium. It's basically hydrogen, that software is there, where you have to type your total element name, HYDROGEN, like that up to unonoctium, 118th element. You have to type all with your own memory, and the timer will move on. So it was in 234 seconds, that is 3 minutes and 54 seconds. 118 elements could be recognized, and that was the fastest time at that time, and that created a new Guinness record. It's on an average 2 seconds, just less than 2 seconds per each element. And this is the certificate for that. This is all because of Swami Vivekananda's inspiration, actually, which has created since the childhood, since my childhood. So always I find an opportunity to interact with some of the school children and college students here in different institutions. So I'm thankful to you for giving me this opportunity to share with some more friends here. And before concluding, we'll be happy to see the opinions of some of the great people like Rabindranath Tagore, who told about Swami Vivekananda. If you want to know India, study Vivekananda. In him, everything is positive and nothing negative. This is very important. How to convert, how to make interpretation to make every situation positive is very important, and which in the words of Rabindranath, you can see that. Then Mahatma Gandhi, he visited in 1900s to the ashram, Ramakrishna ashram in Kolkata. Then he has expressed like this: I have come here to pay my homage and respect to the revered memory of Swami Vivekananda, whose birthday is being celebrated today. I have gone through his works very thoroughly, and after having gone through them, the love that I had for my country became 1,000-fold. I ask you, young men, not to go away empty-handed without imbibing something of the spirit of the place where Swami Vivekananda lived and died. Similarly, Balagangadhar Tilak, with whom Swamiji associated during some particular point of his journey, he mentioned that 12 centuries ago, Shankaracharya was the only great personality who not only spoke of the purity of our religion, not only uttered in words that this religion was our strength and wealth, not only said that it was our sacred duty to preach this religion in the length and breadth of the world, but also brought all this into action. Swami Vivekananda is a person of that stature who appeared towards the last half of the 19th century. And friends, the Roman Roland, he is a Nobel Prize winner in literature, very famous person. He had actually made a lot of analysis on Swami Vivekananda's life, and he has mentioned about Vivekananda. His preeminent characteristic was kingliness. He was a born king, and nobody ever came near him, either in India or America, without paying homage to his majesty. His words are great music, phrases in the style of Beethoven, stirring rhythms like the march of Handel choruses. I cannot touch these sayings of his scattered as they are through the pages of books at 30 years distance without receiving a thrill through body like an electric shock. And what shocks, what transports must have been produced when in burning words they issued from the lips of the hero. He mentions that the persons who were in regular touch with Swamiji would have felt electrical shock. Such is the intensity of his words. So this is the last one. Actually, Swamiji, when he has set the platform for all of us to carry his ideology, this is the one which he has, he has mentioned to Mr. Eric Hammond in London. It may be that I shall find it good to get outside my body, to cast it off like a worn-out garment, but shall not cease to work. I shall inspire men everywhere until the world shall know that it is one with the God. See, in this particular sentence, he has clearly mentioned that till the world realizes that everyone is having that oneliness, and all different religions, all different spiritual concepts, they come together as a oneliness of humanity. Till the world realizes that, till then I am with you. So this is the spirit with which you have taken initiative, and I have been privileged to share my thoughts with you. And I always derive a lot of benefit because of cherishing his ideology. And I believe some of my friends also agree with me, and that will always help us, including several other great people. Swami Vivekananda, in one of the contests he mentioned, in spite of his so much enormous ability, he mentioned, he see his attitude. He mentions that I will not hesitate to take 1,000 rebirths to train even a single person. See the depth of the meaning. Everyone knows he is a so eloquent speaker. But in spite of that, he was mentioning that I will not hesitate to take 1,000 rebirths to train even a single person. So here, what does it mean? It only means that it is the final attitude which matters. Efficiency is okay, but attitude is important. Efficiency, let us talk about science and technology. Today's society, efficiency is quite okay in parameter. But attitude-wise, still a lot of purification is required. And that balance of that, the combination of these two can make wonders in the society, especially the poorest of the poor in the world, in the different corners, including African continent. Everybody will get the results of science and technology because of this thought process. And if you can understand that, that will help us. So my sincere thanks to the director and esteemed staff of ICAR-DWR Jabalpur for providing me this opportunity to share my thoughts on Swami Vivekananda. And all of you, all my friends, whoever have come from Agriculture College, Bapatla, Acharya Engineering Agriculture University, several other universities, my ICR, IAWM and other institute colleagues, and different friends from senior faculty from universities and also ICR. I thank you all for your patient hearing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Brahmanand. Really, it was a wonderful talk, and it has really increased our knowledge about Swami Vivekananda. And rightly, if I say that you have very sincerely and very nicely, you have interpreted his spirituality with the science and the society. And in fact, I liked this talk very much, and it has encouraged, it might have encouraged all of our colleagues also to go through the work of Swami Vivekananda. And in fact, I'm very much thankful that in fact, Dr. J.S. Mishra, Director, ICAR-DWR, he perceived this thing that we should also have such sort of topic in between the scientific topics, so that our ISWS members as well as the ICAR colleagues, they will be benefited with such sort of lectures. So very much, thank you very much again, Dr. Brahmanand. But I will now invite the persons who are listening that talk, if they want to ask any questions about the Vivekananda's Sahab work or about whatever he thinks, because in the chat box I am finding a lot of reactions from other people that it was very excellent talk, and I invite the people now from the participant side to ask any queries or questions from Dr. Brahmanand. Participants, please.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, myself, Dr. Manoj from BHU.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon.
Thank you so much, sir. Especially thanks, sir, Professor J.S. Mishra, sir, Professor Dr. Sushil Kumar, sir, and all the whole team, ISWS. I am really thankful for delivering such a nice lecture. But I have one question that I am a teacher, and many times I ask students to join and to read Swami Vivekananda books. They tell that, oh, it is you are telling to make me Swami and you sacrifice this world. And what will be benefit I will be getting? So I understand the value of these things, the ethics, because everyone wants trustworthy people in this world. But
correct. I will try to interact, sir. You please complete, sir. Yeah.
So there is so much pressure from materialistic society that our young bloods are so much depressed and so much running after these crazy things. So how to give them practical learning, means how to go for ethics and values in life, and that will be very helpful for our young generation, sir, because I am teacher here, sir.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. Actually, this type of thoughts were shared during my interaction in different lectures also. Actually, sir, my submission is that it is only because of not having a clear idea that how much benefit really by inculcating such type of thought process can have. They must be telling. But the thing is, Swamiji said that it is not like he himself said that you are not going to become Swamiji or something, or a spiritual person or sannyasi or something to get a spiritual thoughts. Everything is in the mind. Actually, we can carry out our regular activity. The students who are feeling that, they can carry their regular activity. And along with that regular activity, whatever the resilience which they need to show to different incidents that happen in their lives, their resilience has to be increased. That should be their target. Yeah. It is not that they are going somewhere, and even he mentioned in one of the contexts, by sitting in the deepest caves of the forest, in the Amazon forest, one may not attain the that peace and concentration. Even a person who can regulate his mind, he can feel peaceful even at the most busiest center in the Chicago city also. The point of telling is how you are allowing some of the thought process inside, you can very much integrate along with your regular lifestyle. The students very much, they are right in feeling that. But for that, the solution is also there. The solution is, if they start doing some of the small things, suppose weekends, in one of the weekend, I go and deliver a 2-hour voluntarily a class, means taking a class to some children in a school or a college voluntarily. And after doing that particular activity, you yourself will increase your spirit within you, and in that good act, you will be purified. You will feel that. And to explain that, it is very difficult. Actually, only the person who does that action, only he will get it. And that confidence which he gets will make them stronger. Sir, one example I will tell you. Nowadays, even in IIT admissions or even in several other education institutions, when the results are coming, you will find some students, they're committing suicides and all. It's very common, sir, everywhere. Now, the point is, sir, because the domain is very narrow, sir. The domain of that person has to be increased. We are only thinking that very small things as our targets, and especially restricting to my own benefit, which I am thinking that is a benefit. Is actually, it is not the benefit, but because of lack of understanding, they are thinking that. The moment if they start helping others, or suppose doing some small activity like giving a voluntary tuition or something, his domain has increased. His problem will not be that much, sensitive for him. He will try to live in this world to do those good things. He will be addicted to do that, sir. Believe me, sir, it can happen. But, sir, it is a journey. And that for some people, it may take long time. For some people, it takes less time. As I have mentioned, that carbonic anhydrase example, without with the motivating enzyme like that, it's like we can compare with the motivation. That motivation need not come from outside. It can come from inside also. For getting it inside, we require examples like Swami Vivekananda, sir. So we can interact, sir, in future whenever there is opportunity in the BHU also. We'll try to have some interaction, and we'll try to rather give more clarification on that.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Brahmanand. Now I invite Dr. KG Mandal Sahab, who is Director of ICAR-DWR FRI Motihari. He wants to interact with you, please.
Good afternoon, Mandalda. Good afternoon.
Very good afternoon. Very good. Is it audible to you?
Yes. Very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
first of all,
Thank you for joining.
So many thanks to Mr. Sir and team from Jabalpur, and so many thanks to Dr. Brahmanand. He was my earlier colleague at Bhubaneswar, and so many times I have listened you, I have heard his lecture, and I was the direct witness of his Guinness lecture of 38 hours. I have seen him very closely. Okay, so I will not elaborate. Dr. Anand, I think I sometimes think on the issues like Mr. Sir,
Yes.
the books and the items or the trainings we have attended and we have listened. The management schools, what they taught, what they teach, or even at our NARM, regarding like different components of human resource management, like mind management, like thought management, like anger management, stress management. So even leadership development or many aspects of human resource management, even the many books are available. So Anand, I have one query, and sometimes the question comes to my mind that the ideas of Swamiji, his noble philosophy and thoughts, his mind related thoughts and the spiritual concepts, is there any linkage of all his ideals and thoughts or the management aspects of mind with the modern day management books or the courses what they teach in management schools? Is there any linkage of Swamiji's ideas in all those modern human resource management courses and tools and techniques? Is there any linkage?
No, linkage means actually in the new educational curriculum which the government is already in the process of doing that. In that, some of the ideologies of not only Swami Vivekananda, but several other great people who have contributed to the country, they are actually making the exercise to integrate with the courses. That is one area. But what you asked is broader than that, actually. What you are asking is actually how to reflect his ideas in the particular curriculum. But actually completely making that possible in the curriculum level is very difficult, because these are all basically attitude related. So unless because we are stakeholders, we have different stakeholders, especially the childhood is the most important one, when people can be inspired, and also some imbibation of some good ideas can be given at that stage, just like in case of plant growth stage. So parents, they play a major role. Suppose if the parents, they are having a better ambience they are creating in terms of ethics and all, then the children will be automatically picking up. Similarly, the teachers. Similarly, nowadays, because the internet is open, so people are directly subjected to the information flow. So how to regulate that? Those are different challenges which have now got opened up. So under this particular scenario, actually, Swamiji said that advanced society is a society where the number of individuals who have a better credibility, who have a sensitivity towards the poor, who have a better responsibility towards the society, if they are higher in the number, then the society can be called as an advanced society. Unless we increase that number, we cannot expect in terms of the stakeholder atmosphere which I am talking, to whom the children will get exposed. So it is it takes a lot of time from multi-directional effort is required, and then only it is possible. But whatever you have asked is a correct thing, but for them providing a solution completely in that package is difficult. That is the thing.
Right.
Thank you, Brahmanand. One questions we take from P. Gurumurthy. In fact,
Yes,
Dr. Gurumurthy has also
Yes.
commented that the
Yeah,
ICAR may take the essence and propagate Vivekananda ji spiritual ideologies through KVKs to farmers, particularly young men and women farmers of the country. This would give true prosperity to farmers and sustain food production. So I invite you, Dr. Gurumurthy, to interact with Dr. Brahmanand ji.
thank you, sir. At the outset, may I audible, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah,
all
yeah.
right.
Thank you.
Good afternoon,
Thank you.
Dr.
At
Guru.
the outset,
Good afternoon.
Thank you. Good afternoon to all. And at the outset, I thank very much for the organizers, Directorate of Weed Management, and the speaker, Anand ji. So really wonderful, and perhaps the requirement of the day for the research and education in general, and agriculture education and crop production by the farming community in the ideologies, particularly Vivekananda ideologies and the attitudes is very important in nowadays, rather than what we are trying and sprawling our hands towards the perfection and many things. So in achieving that, I think these ideologies, no doubt, they will be helping extremely well. Probably these kind of ideologies we have to infuse into the young minds, particularly in the youth. And the ICR, I think, already had there in NSS programs, but still we need to intensify, particularly celebrating Vivekananda's birthday, and the Ramakrishna ideologies need to be propagated in all the agriculture education institutions, as well as through KVKs. We can celebrate these things in a big way and propagate these ideologies through the pamphlets or some other way. I think that when we do this, I think we will achieve good things, and a prosperous farmers will see, and a prosperous country and prosperous nation. So thank you, Dr. Anandji. It's really thought-provoking, and we're all actually wished, and many of our students also joined, and they're also.
Thank you, Dr. Guru, for being here and also for encouragement. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Gurumurthy.
I think कुछ लोग हिंदी में अगर अरेंज करता तो अच्छा होगा करके बोल रहा था, और फ्यूचर में हम लोग कोशिश करेंगे सर, हिंदी में भी भाई
करेंगे
विचार व्यक्त करने के लिए मैं खुशी से आपके सामने प्रस्तुत करूंगा.
So thank you, Dr. Gurumurthy. Now I see that Dr. Shobha wants to ask some questions. So I invite Dr. Shobha, and I will request Mr. Gyanan Singh to bring the photo or the persons online. Yeah, Dr. Shobha, please.
Thank you, Dr. Sushil Kumar. Good afternoon, Dr.
Hi, good afternoon, Dr. Shobha. How are you? Fine.
Nice to see you after a long time. So I just have a question related to more on the, or you can say day-to-day life, as well as on the depends on the spirituality also. That what is the view of duality in Advaitwad, and how this can be used for spirituality or the personal life or professional life. And second question is, how many plane of existence are there? So how to reach all those plane of existence for the soul?
What is that? Pardon?
Plane of existence. Plane of existence.
Plane of existence. Okay. Yeah, actually, regarding Advaita Vedanta, which is actually being propagated by Ramakrishna Mission as a vehicle, basically. This is because earlier there was a thought process, a spiritual thought process, like God exists in different forms. So it is like either in a directly visible form, or it is something, God is without form. So based on that, the different theories have come. And Advaita, actually Advaita means, basically Dvaita means two. Advaita means दो नहीं होगा. जो दो नहीं होगा वो अद्वैत है. जो दो नहीं होगा मतलब वो एक्चुअली एक ही होगा. सो भगवान एक ही है, उसी को अद्वैत बोलता है. अद्वैत इज एक्चुअली उसका नेगेटिव फॉर्म है, मतलब अपोजिट फॉर्म ऑफ द्वैता. तो उसका कॉन्सेप्ट को इसलिए पॉपुलर हुआ है। आदि शंकराचार्य ने जब उन्होंने यहाँ आए थे हमारा दुनिया में, उन्होंने जो ये आइडेंटिफाई किया कि डिफरेंट फॉर्म्स के कारण लोगों के अंदर में इतना कंफ्यूजन हो रहा था कि भगवान के बारे में जो शोध है वो ठीक तरह से उनको क्लैरिफिकेशन नहीं हो रहा था। तो आदि शंकराचार्य ने क्या किया, जो हमारा जो एंशिएंट लिटरेचर स्पेशली वेदास को पूरा अध्ययन करके, पूरा विश्लेषण करके, उन्होंने ओनली 32 ईयर्स रहा था हमारा पास, लेकिन उसी का अंदर में उन्होंने बहुत सुंदर रूप में उसको सब जगह में, उड़ीसा से लेके कश्मीर तक सब जगह में जाके सबके साथ उन्होंने वाद किया है, उसको विचार किया है, सबको इनवाइट किया है और सबका सवाल को स्वीकार किया है और उन्होंने अच्छी तरह से उसको एक्सप्लेन किया है। द बेसिक फाइनल बेसिक एसेंस यही रहा कि भगवान एक ही है, मतलब भगवान एक ही फॉर्म में है, वो एक ही है। स्वामी जी ने उसको और भी आगे लेकर गया। उन्होंने क्या बोला कि जितना भी रिलीजन्स है, जितना भी धर्म है, उनका जो भी भगवान मानते हैं वो अपना अपना मानना ठीक है, और लेकिन फाइनली गॉड इज दिस यूनिवर्सलिटी ऑफ ऑल रिलीजन्स को उन्होंने चिकागो स्पीच में, सीरीज ऑफ 6 स्पीचेस में, 6 स्पीच में उन्होंने क्लैरिफाई किया टोटल वर्ल्ड को इन ए कन्विंसिंग मैनर। तो उसका मीनिंग में मैंने जो बताया था, जब आपने मंजी को, आप बीज को डालेंगे जर्मिनेशन के लिए, जब उसको ऊपर मट्टी भी रखेंगे, कवर करेंगे, देन उसके हवा को आप छोड़ देंगे, ऐसे ही नेचुरली हवा के साथ वो इंटरेक्ट होगा, और पानी भी थोड़ा देंगे, तो ये तीनों को ये लेके उसका फाइनली वो एक पौधा हो रहा है, तो एक प्लांट हो रहा है। वो बोलता है कि वो एक, फिर वो सॉइल नहीं हुआ, वो पानी नहीं हुआ, और उन्होंने फिर ये भी नहीं हुआ, मतलब वायु भी नहीं हुआ, मतलब एयर भी नहीं हुआ, रादर उन्होंने एक पौधा हुआ है, कंप्लीटली अलग हुआ है। ऐसे ही उन्होंने ये एक्सप्लेन करने की कोशिश किया, हर रिलीजन का, हर धर्म का, हर स्पिरिचुअलिटी का फॉर्म का ये हो सकता है। जैसा दान की जो अपना जो पौधा हो सकता है, गेहूं का अलग पौधा हो सकता है। तो उन्होंने क्या बोला, ये जितना भी ये जो है, एयर है, सॉइल है, ये जो है, अगर आप अदर रिलीजन्स मानेंगे, उसका स्पिरिट को मानेंगे, उस स्पिरिट को वो लेके ये अपना लॉ ऑफ नेचर को फॉलो करके ये अपना इंडिविजुअलिटी को मेंटेन करके ये पौधा हो रहा है। तो उसी को आदि शंकराचार्य जी ने जो बताया, उसको और भी विवेकानंद जी ने और भी आगे लेके, और उसको कॉन्सेप्ट में भी बहुत आगे लेकर गया यूनिवर्सलिटी को एक्सप्लेन करने के लिए। और उसके बाद उन्होंने बोला कि इवन आउटसाइड दी कंट्री, मीन्स पूरा दुनिया में उसको कन्विंस किया है। तो ये है आपका फर्स्ट वाला के लिए। तो सेकंड वाला आपने जो बोला प्लेन ऑफ एग्जिस्टेंस का भी इसी का आंसर ऑलमोस्ट उसी से आएगा। अदरवाइज वी हैव टू सी फॉर दैट माइंड और ब्रेन का जो मैंने बता रहा था, उसमें स्वामी जी ने एक्सप्लेन कर रहा था कि माइंड के बारे में आप मेजर नहीं कर पाएंगे, आप माप नहीं कर पाएंगे, मतलब उसको आप इसको इतना, आपका क्या क्या अंदर में क्या थॉट प्रोसेस चल रहा है, वो आप खुद ही, आपका खुद माइंड ही उसको फिर मेजर करेगी। ये ऐसी जगह है जहां सबस्ट्रेट भी वही है और उसको मॉनिटर करने वाला भी माइंड ही है। वेयर इन केस ऑफ साइंस में वो क्या बोलता है, वो आपको कुछ एक्सटर्नल एक ऑब्जेक्ट मिला है, लाइक ब्रेन है, उसको मापने के लिए आपको एमआरआई कर सकते हैं, कुछ कर सकते हैं, उसकी एक्टिविटी को आप देख सकते हैं। तो ये जो प्लेन ऑफ एग्जिस्टेंस के लिए एक्चुअली बेसिकली उन्होंने बोलता है कि आपके अंदर में जो चिंताधारण है उसके लिए भी वो बोलता है कि ब्रेन का अंदर में वो बोलता है कि जैसे माइंड में कुछ कुछ चैनल्स क्रिएट होगा, आप कुछ नया चीज को सोचेंगे, जैसा आप मोटिवेट होने के लिए कुछ नया चीज, सपोज हम सोचेंगे कुछ अच्छा चीज मुझे लगा, नया चीज है, नया चीज को पहले मैं समझना चाहिए, वो समझने के लिए जब मैं उसके लिए कोशिश करता हूं वो एक चैनल ओपन होगा। लेकिन वो क्या बोलता है, ब्रेन जो है ऑलरेडी जो अंदर में जो बड़ा बड़ा चैनल्स में जो ऑलरेडी फिक्स्ड आइडियाज हम जो बोलते हैं, वो फिक्स्ड आइडियाज को ही इमीडिएटली एक्सेप्ट कर लेते हैं, नया चीज को इसलिए एक्सेप्ट नहीं करता है। बट यू कैन मेक ए चैनल स्मॉल स्मॉल स्मॉल, एंड ये नया आइडिया, नया विचार को चैनल 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 करके, अगर आप जैसा हमने इनफाइनाइट पेशेंस जिन्होंने रामकृष्ण ने दिखा के उनको जैसा समझाया स्वामी जी को एग्जिस्टेंस ऑफ गॉड के बारे में, उसके लिए बहुत समय लगा। वो बहुत समय इसलिए लगा, वो धीरे 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 छोटा 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 चैनल 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 देके एक बड़ा चैनल होने के बाद वो एक एस्टैब्लिश्ड प्लेन ऑफ एग्जिस्टेंस टाइप का उसका माइंड में हो गया है। तो इस तरह का है एक्चुअली। इसमें हम लोग अगर मिलेंगे तो वी कैन डिस्कस इन डिटेल, बट मैं जो समझ पाया इतना ही है। बिकॉज ये तो खुद हम अपना आप को भी ये सोचता है कि जितना भी पता है बहुत कम है, लेकिन हम उस कोशिश में हैं उसको खोजने की, उसका जो सच्चाई का मतलब उसको कैसे हम लोग और भी अच्छा तरह से जान पाएंगे, उसी कोशिश में है। और उसी कोशिश में ये महान व्यक्ति जो स्वामी विवेकानंद और दूसरा महान व्यक्ति हमको साध्य कर रहा है।
Thank you, Dr. Brahmanand ji. I find in the list of persons attending one very veteran weed scientist, Dr. T.V. Ramchandra Prasad sir.
Okay.
Dr. Prasad sir, are you still with us? So he has commented. If Dr. Prasad sir is here, he can interact, because Dr. Prasad sir, he has very commented that it is a very good talk, and we could know more on spirituality, religion, and the development of science, their interrelations, and finally emphasizing on sincerity and concentration of mind helps in developing good technology for the betterment of mankind. So it was his very good comment. I also see Dr. Raghuvanshi. He has also praised Dr. Mukesh Kumar. He has also praised a lot. If you wants to interact and ask any questions, Dr. T.V. Ram Prasad sir has come. Dr. Prasad sir, please interact, sir.
Thank you.
Sir,
Thank you.
namaskar. Prasad sir, namaskar.
Namaskar. How are you?
Fine, sir. Fine, sir.
Very nice to hear a deviated lecture from our own agriculture science.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Very thought-provoking and also purifying our mind.
Thank you, sir.
Main thing is concentration and dedication is required for development of any science. I
Right.
think well known recently our former DG also got a good recognition from the government of India.
Haji.
It's only because of their sincere effort in the development of science. I really thank you and congratulate our Directorate, Dr. Sushil Kumar, for their effort in bringing you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your encouragement. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, certainly. Your talk has helped many of us to concentrate our mind.
Thank you.
As we age process, there will be a lot of diminution in our stress that will keep us away from the main routine of concentrating. I think your talk has certainly helped us. Thank you very much. Very kind of you.
Thank you, Prasad sir. I see that, I see
you.
that our past director, Dr. J.G. Vashne Saab has also participated.
Yeah. He is also there.
Webinar. So I invite Dr. Vashne sir to have interaction with Dr. Brahmanand ji. Dr. Vashne sir.
Sir, namaskar, sir.
Namaskar, sir. Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Thank you, Dr.
Sir. Thank you for joining, sir. Thank you for joining.
It was a very, very nice talk. And in fact, I wanted it a little in Hindi because the most of the audience, they are from Hindi area. So they would be...
हम हिंदी में सर अगला बार मौका मिलेगा तो सर हिंदी में ही कोशिश करेंगे.
हाँ, थोड़ा सा एक चीज और मैं कहना चाहता था, क्योंकि गीता इज ओशन और स्वामी विवेकानंद जी और स्वामी रामकृष्ण परमहंस जी मुझे तो अनपैरेलल, दे आर लाइक शंकराचार्य. सो कोई ऐसी चीज, एक दो चीज आप प्रैक्टिकल थोड़ा सा बताते अगर जो है कि ये जो डेली लाइफ में यूजफुल अगर होता तो बहुत अच्छा होता. ये तो काफी अच्छा बताया आपने, ये तो आई अप्रिशिएट इट. लेकिन इसके अलावा भी कोई एक दो चीज ऐसी बताते वो ज्यादा अच्छा और लगता.
अगला टॉप में सर अभी सर थोड़ा प्रीलूड के लिए, जैसा इंट्रोडक्शन के लिए, ओवरऑल आइडिया के लिए सर अभी के लिए कोशिश किया गया. और जैसा आपने जो बता रहे उसके लिए सर अलग से एक अलग संदर्भ में सर उसको करेंगे सर, जरूर करेंगे.
नहीं, बहुत अच्छा, आपने बहुत अच्छा प्रेजेंटेशन दिया है. एंड माय कुडोस टू यू.
हाँ, थैंक यू सर. अभी हिंदी में प्रयास करेंगे, डेफिनेटली करेंगे सर.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. You also participated and interacted. Thank you very much again, sir. Now, I invite our chairman, Dr. J.S. Mishra Saab, for his final comment before we conclude.
Thank you, Dr. Sushil Kumar. In fact, I don't have any word except to appreciate Dr. Brahmanand ji. In fact, when I listened to him last time in one of the webinars organized by the Indian Institute of Soil and Water Conservation at Dehradun. And then only I thought that our society, Beat Science Society, Beat Science fraternity should also get benefited by his talk. So, in fact, friends, we know that present day society, the declining values and credibility, the lot of stress, in fact, in spite of lot of progress be made in the science, but these are the reality. And Dr. Brahmanand ji has very rightly enlightened all of us by the ideologies, by the spiritualities and thoughts of the Swami Vivekananda ji for the betterment and management of our day-to-day life in the society. And we should try to learn, in fact, the attributes, as he rightly told, of the Swamiji for the betterment of science and society. You see, there are three things what Dr. Brahmanand ji told: the purity of mind, the dedication, the devotion, and above all, the attitude to work. So it is all the attitude how to go ahead and in the life and in the science also. And you know, everybody has a mind. So we have to believe in the power of mind, as he told. And finally, there are, of course, if you see his presentation, every sentence is a lot of meaningful. So, but in nutshell, I have catch up some of the sentences that serving God through humanity. So in whatever way we are serving the society, we are serving the farmers. So certainly we should be the human touch, whatever research and whatever development we are doing. We should keep the poorest of the farmers in the mind, that whatever technology we are making, is it going to help in whatever way to the farmers for it well-being. And that's what the ICR logo is there, that agri research with human touch. And similarly, if you find out the CRISAT or somewhere others, that the science with human touch or science with society. So a lot of things are there. And the one more important thing what he told, that excess knowledge and power, of course it is okay, but without holiness. So if it is without holiness, it has no meaning. Even if you have less knowledge, and if it is with holiness, in fact, that is more important. So I think with this talk, I think all of us, whatever more than 80, 90 people we have joined this, we have got a really benefit. And certainly with the points what Dr. Brahmanand ji told about Vivekananda ji. So really we should try to at least a part, 10%, 5%, 1%, because unless we practice it, we realize it in our own day-to-day life, I think we are not going to do better. So with this, my few words, I once again thank Dr. Brahmanand ji and all of my colleagues, including our senior person, Dr. Varsane Saab, Dr. Ramchandra Prasad ji, and many more. So thank you once again. Thank you very much, Dr. Sushil Kumar.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mishra Saab. And now it is the time for Thanksgiving, and on the behalf of Indian Society of Wheat Science and DWR as well, I am thankful to Dr. P.S. Brahmanand ji, who has given his valuable time to deliver a talk on this sort of the topic, which is really very different, because it is the topic of spirituality, but he has nicely interacted or he told us about the teaching of Dr. Swami Vivekananda ji, about the science and the society. As Director Mishra Saab also said, that without the holiness, power and knowledge does not have any meaning. I too agree with this, and really I am very much thankful to our veteran scientists today who have participated, Dr. J.G. Varsane Sahab, Dr. T.V. Ram Prasad Sahab, Guru Murthy, and so many members of Indian Society of Wheat Science who have participated in this webinar. I am very much thankful to all of them. I am very much thankful to Dr. J.S. Mishra. In fact, who is behind particularly this topic. He asked me to arrange a topic, such sort of topic, and he was knowing about the Brahmanand, and we really, I wonder that how, well, 2 and 3 days, he has spoken by standing gesture. How it is, a very strong, willful man can do only this sort of things. Really, we are proud of Dr. Brahmanand on you, that such a wonderful talk you have given, and you are the winner of Guinness Book of Records. And that of all, at the end, I'm very much thankful to Mr. Gyanen Singh, Mr. Dauraja, and all of my colleagues who have participated in this seminar and who has also helped us to arrange this webinar online. So thank you very much to all of you again. So with the permission of Chairman Saab, now we stop the webinar screen.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much to all of you. Thank you, sir.
Thank all my friends who joined. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And